Miami condo complex back in April. She was arrested in August in Hawaii. And she's pleaded not guilty to the crime. Again, there was blood everywhere. It was devastating. She said that he attacked her and she threw the knife. You guys know the story, but they've determined, as they, at least part of the charging documents, they've determined that the kinds of wounds that he had aren't from someone tossing a knife their way. But that was the thought process. She's been denied bail. It would only been like, $50K or something like that. There was one of these cases where it was low enough bail. She's gonna stay in jail and she's gonna see her day in court. Still, his family's gonna have to deal with that for the rest of their lives. A few more of y'all's comments as we wrap, but we have like a minute left, you guys. What else are you guys talking about out there? Let's scroll through. Who have I not gotten to? Ukami313 over on Twitch, good to see you guys again, says, how does it cheapen the value? Love is freaking love. As we're talking about hearts are out in Missouri hating on marriage. If you think two same-sex people getting married cheapens your marriage, then maybe you should start seeing a marriage counselor with your hubby. The degree to which I can't begin to care about someone else's marriage or whether or not they're living whichever way I care that they're living, I can't even come up with it, but she's dedicated her life to it. Like we were saying, traveled the whole state to hate on people because she thinks that's gonna destroy the country. Again, she wasn't in office. So this is her true belief system. I'm not sure how to change people's minds like this. You can't. You can't change my mind that this show is over though, by the way. Happy Friday, you guys. We got John Iadarola coming up next on the Damage Report. Also, by the way, in case you guys forgot, it is JR Friday. It's Sugar High Fridays on the main show. I'll be joining Jank in the second hour of the Young Turks, 4 o'clock Pacific there. Not so much Sugar High anymore because, again, doctor told me to chill. But I will see you guys later on that show. Look forward to it as we wrap up the rest of the week. And you guys have a lovely weekend. We'll see you on Monday for another watch list.
Welcome back, one and all, to another day here at the Damage Report. It's a special day. I am going to call it Fran Favorite Fridays because we've got Francesca Fiorentini. Francesca, how's it going?
Really good. It's good to be here this week. We almost didn't make it, but thankfully Brett swapped with me. It was very fun that I was like, I'm back. JK, I'm gone.
I'm back. Nah, I don't like this though. I'm gonna go. Although you did have an episode of the Bitchuation Room.
Nice shirt.
Big deal. Everyone check it out.
Bitchuationroom.com. John actually supported the show by buying that shirt.
Yes.
Yeah, we had a live stream at Franny Fio every Tuesday, 1 p.m. Pacific, 4 p.m. Eastern, and we have an actual in the flesh show coming up. I don't know if you guys know this. It's gonna be January 22nd in San Francisco, and guess who my guest is gonna be? He's this guy, you might not have heard of him, a really popular YouTube show, morning show, incredible fan base, incredible news. Yes, JR Jackson.
That's awesome. That's gonna be a big one.
No.
But anyway, yes, I was very pleased to be invited to participate in one of your live shows. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
John's gonna be at Sketchfest for the Bitchuation Room podcast. We're gonna be together. You guys have to be there. So get tickets at sfsketchfest.com. And yeah, I just can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
I can't wait. We've been talking behind the scenes. I've been like interested in dabbling in some live stuff, and we're still, maybe we can return to talking about that once we get past the holidays. But this is like the lowest ask version of that for me. I just get to come to yours. You've already planned it. It's all set up. So I can't wait. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Dragon Squad in the flesh there's nothing like it.
Yeah, we haven't done like a live show in so long, but this will be an opportunity to come and watch, and you'll get the Bitchuation Room. You get me at the same time. How fun will that be?
So fun.
In any event, we have a big old show to close out the week. We decided to just do all of the things. So we're gonna give you your garbage people. We're gonna do that. We're gonna give you animal news. We're gonna give you a live interview guest, an awesome guest, Nikki McCann Ramirez, who's joined us several times in the past few months. Gonna be coming on and talk about the right-wing meltdown over Brittney Griner's return. So there's just so much fun, interesting stories. We're going to do a little bit of look back on 7 years of Trevor Noah as the head of the Daily Show. So just a lot of fun. So buckle up. And if you wouldn't mind, please hit the like button, share the stream. That'd be a delight so that people know we're live. And you can reach out to us in all of the normal ways, and we'll respond as we go. But with all that said, Francesca, you ready to start the show?
Let's do it.
Okay, well, this being Fran Favorite Fridays, we decided to mix things up because little mini spoiler, sometimes your garbage person is such a big piece of garbage that you can't wait until the end of the show to throw them away. So screw the status quo and the normal way of things. Are we ready to do this, actually? It's the end of the week, and so it's time to take out the trash. Francesca, you don't often get to throw away garbage people of the week. Who have you chosen this week?
Oh, I actually came prepared this week. I chose Jesse Waters for his response to Brittney Griner's release, calling her a woke prisoner. We may have footage of that. I don't know when we're playing that shot, but you can go to it now.
It's a bad trade, worse than the Sixers sending Barkley to the Suns. This woman, I'm glad she's back. She's anti-American. She's probably a little less anti-American now.
Right, maybe.
And Whalen's probably an intel guy, and Putin wouldn't let him go. And so this guy's got American blood on his hands, and he's probably gonna lead to more American deaths. Putin targeted Brittney. He knew by choosing a black lesbian celebrity, it would put the political squeeze on Biden. And now every dictator knows who to target. A woke hostage is gonna spring you if you're a Democrat in the White House.
A woke hostage. That's what Jesse Waters is calling Brittney Griner. Here, in reality, thought that being a black lesbian who is forced to play basketball in another country would actually work against you. But no, apparently the 7D chess of the woke mob says that absolutely that's who you have to kidnap. So wither Dave Chappelle's old bit about Al Qaeda taking Black Americans hostage, because apparently now it's like it's the woke. And again,
that's a great point.
Guys, when you hear woke, listen, he just gave you the definition. A Black lesbian like woman. A woke hostage. He just gave you the definition of woke. We all know that every time you hear woke, it just means Black people or queer people, right? Like, stop with the charade. Anyway, so that's my garbage person. It's just, it's amazing, John. I did not foresee that Brittney Griner, and we're gonna talk about this, I know, with our guest, that would be such an opportunity, like that someone could spin that in a way that was like, nope, it was bad to let her go.
Yeah, and they'll say that the reason it's bad is because he should have somehow magically gotten a better trade that Russia apparently refused to do.
Right.
What exactly the solution to that is, they're not saying, because they don't know, because there apparently isn't a solution. They're more mad after he got someone back that was being held by an authoritarian regime than they were before he got them back, which is certainly weird. So if the Marine was still there and the basketball player was still there, they would be happier than half of them being returned to their families.
They didn't even know Whelan's name. They didn't know his name until Brittney Griner. And the only thing I will say about Brittney Griner is that the celebrity did help. That it did help that she had some amount of notoriety, and if anything, it brought light to Paul Whelan's like imprisonment in and of itself. Like, anyway, we'll talk about it more later. But my God, the spin.
No,
such trash.
They don't want her back. Like, they hate everything about her. It's identity politics. I know that's not how they use the term, but it's just they hate people based on their identity, and that's what their politics is based on.
She's anti-American? Where the hell does that come from?
It means she's not a conservative. That is literally all it means. You can campaign on how much of an S-hole our entire country is, and that does not make you anti-American. But if you identify factual structural inequities and have a problem based on it, then you hate America and you should go. Their entire network is finding flaws with entire cities, entire states, entire communities. But that doesn't make you anti-American. How convenient.
Yes, no, literally her identity is seen as anti-American. When is she tarnished like the United States? She's played for the United States on the world stage. How is she 100%. Anti-American? It's just that it's her identity that they see as anti-American, and it's racist as hell.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, like kneeling or whatever, that makes you anti-American. Trying to overthrow the American government makes you a patriot. That's all that you need to know about their entire ideology. By the way, he's one of the ultimate garbage people. I'm beginning to think, obviously, we're gonna go forward. Every week we're gonna have our garbage people, but I do think we should start inducting people into the dumpster hall of fame.
Yes.
I think a more broad-based look back on regular entrants to this category. So if you'd like to see that, let us know in the chat.
Just a little like Rizzo the rat character hanging out. I mean, love Rizzo. So like I wouldn't want to compare Jesse Waters and Rizzo, but like, just like a dumpster rat who's always there. And Jesse Waters, absolutely.
Okay, we're gonna work on that. And we're gonna get little tiny dumpster trophies made and we're gonna mail it to them. Anyway, no, maybe we'll make a trophy case or something. Okay, we're gonna work on that. We need a props department. Very good, garbage person. Thank you for that. And with that, for my garbage person of the week, you will not be surprised. Buckle up and watch this.
I've registered as an Arizona independent. And I know some people might be a little bit surprised by this, but actually, I think it makes a lot of sense.
No, not surprised. And I do think it makes a lot of sense from a certain perverse, corrupt, sold out perspective. Anyway, Senator Sinema, former Democrat, has more to say. Listen to this.
You know, a growing number of Arizonans and people like me just don't feel like we fit neatly into one party's box or the other. And so, like many across the state and the nation, I've decided to leave that partisan process and really just focus on the work that I think matters to Arizona and to our country, which is solving problems and getting things done.
So look, she's garbage for a lot of different reasons, almost single-handedly stopping a ton of amazing things being done in the last 2 years of the Biden administration that could have helped out millions upon millions of people. That would gain her a spot in the dumpster any day. Here it's because she's lying about everything that she's saying there. Like many Arizonans, I don't fit into one party box. I mean, she added the word party importantly, because while she might not fit into one party box, she does fit into a box. It is a box that has been bought by corporate interests and the wealthiest people in the country. She, in theory, according to people who know her, at one point in the distant past had values and had opinions, had ideas. And she even tried to pretend that she had that, running for the spot that she still unfortunately holds. She ran not just as a Democrat, which now she has a problem with that label, but she was certainly happy to have the institutional support and the support of activists to get her elected in the first place. She ran as a progressive. And then either that was a lie already, or she was bought. And now, while she doesn't deliver every single thing that the Democrats want, or every single thing that the Republicans want, she delivers every single outcome that the wealthiest people in our society who have already won, the status quo has been made to benefit them. She has been put in this position to protect those people, and that's what she does. And she apparently believes that it will be easiest to do that now as an independent. I want to fact check one additional thing before we move on. And we do have more clips of her we're gonna play. When she says, like many Arizonans, I don't fit into this box. First of all, get every other Arizonan out of your mouth, because you are not like other Arizonans. The only thing that you have in common with other Arizonans is probably a complete lack of respect for you. Because if you look at a recent poll, nobody likes you, Kyrsten Sinema. I mean, she's not only net unfavorable across all likely voters by 17 points, young voters hate her, old voters hate her, Democrats, independents, and Republicans hate her. And in a true coup, Democrats like her less than Republicans.
Yep.
So that's pretty amazing. Women don't like her, men don't like her. Older women and men, like the young, finally, we've come together, don't like her. People who didn't go to college, people who went to college don't like her. People of all different races and ages don't like her. And if you broke it down based on class, I'm sure you could find an income or wealth quintile that would support her. The working class hates her guts, as any reasonable person would. She is a blight on America. She is the ultimate garbage person. Francesca, I have more to say, but I'm sorry, I've been filibustering. What do you think?
No, I think that's amazing. I just want to say that you're forgetting the private jet owners over the age of 72 who have generational wealth. They love her and own like a cereal, like cereal company. Basically like Mr. Kellogg and Mr. Peanut or something like that. Like,
yeah.
Can I just say, Senator Sinema, you can't quit the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party in Arizona quit you. This is like, someone's like, I'm breaking up with you, and you're like, well, I'm breaking up with you first. Like, no, man.
You can't fire me, I quit.
Absolutely, you can't fire. That is what is happening. I just wanted to make it more of a love situation, yeah. But I think she's been taking cues from Miss Tulsi Gabbard, because like you see that there's a little bit of a stony-eyed, see you next Tuesday face that's like, yes, I am going independently wealthy.
Yep, no, she's gonna do well monetarily, and you can have that sort of unearned confidence when you don't have to fear anything for like 2 years, because while she's a garbage person for a lot of reasons, one of the main ones is that she is revealing to us how utterly powerless even the majority of Americans are when put in certain positions. She got into office saying she would do X. She has tried to stop X from happening every step of the way. And there is nothing that can be done for years and years and years. She could give a speech right now where she just says, here's my Rolodex. It's a bunch of rich a-holes. They own me, you dumb donkeys. I serve them, y'all suck. I'll see you in 2024 or whatever.
I mean, I think
what are you supposed to do about that?
She's done that. She's done that multiple times. She relishes in doing that. And I think this is why obviously the Senate needs to be abolished. I'm sorry, the Senate needs to be abolished. It needs to go because no one should have that much power. But here you have someone, they got their like foot in, into the bowels of the Senate, and they're never gonna leave. They're hanging on, and they don't represent anyone except their own little sort of whims and desires, and really all those whims and desires are just money. And like, she's such a perfect example of like someone who already had kind of grifty instincts, just being beholden to contrarianism and money, right? And that's what she's and what was more concretely what it means is that when the Democrats call on her and say, hey, we're all gonna get together and codify Roe v. Wade, which is ostensibly something that a former Green Party candidate and a Democrat and a woman who identifies as bisexual might be in favor of, but wanna watch as she holds out her vote because she's not so sure. Because it's a decision that you need to be, that it's just every single state has their right to determine what they want to do. Like, watch how she folds on these issues. And the fact that she's independent now is so that no one can count on her, because she does not want to be part of a collective. She does not have actual people in mind. She only has herself in mind.
Yeah. And also, to be clear, she doesn't give a damn about any of this. Like, she wants to go be an intern at a winery or whatever. Like, she doesn't care. She wants to run marathons. Like, her job is an inconvenience to her, which is an added layer of garbage. And by the way, quick heads up, for the next 2 years, I like to occasionally let you know what this whole thing is gonna be about. In order of importance, the way I'm thinking about the purpose of the show, number one, to get people to actually care about the environment and prioritize when it comes to their politics. Number two is to get a progressive to win the primary 2024. Number three is getting rid of her. Like, yes, we are going to return to this many times between now and 2024, because that has got to be we cannot allow this to stand. In the same way that if you care about rationality, Herschel Walker can't enter the Senate. If you care about literally anything having to do with some sort of ethical obligation to your constituents, or not being an open liar, openly bought by corporations, we have to send a message by getting rid of her, or else there will be more Kyrsten Sinemas in the future. Anyway, with that said, we do have more video to go to. So I know many of you are probably wondering, what effect will this have going forward? Let's jump now to our third video.
I mean, your views are generally that of a moderate centrist Democrat. How does leaving the party change how you do your job?
Well, I don't think anything will change about how I do my job. Arizonans sent me to the United States Senate to be an independent voice for our state, and I'll continue doing that. What I think is important about this decision and this move is that I'll be able to show up to work every day as an independent and not be, stuck into one party's demands of following without thinking. And as we've seen in recent years, both parties have created this kind of requirement or a pull towards the edges that you just unthinkingly support all of one party's viewpoints.
Yeah, every bit of that is absolutely disgusting. It's a massive set of lies. She is unthinkingly supporting her owner donors' wishes. That's what she's actually doing. There is disagreement amongst Democratic senators. That's not what she is. She's a person that will deliver for the wealthy. That's it. And just a reminder to her, just in case, no, when you were elected, they did not send you to be an independent voice. They voted for a Democratic candidate. You recall that you pretended to be one at that point? They voted for a Democrat because they wanted a Democrat. If they wanted an independent, there are third-party candidates in many races. They could have supported one. And also, full well you ran as a supposed progressive. Yep. You ran for that knowing that's what they wanted. They don't want someone who gives the Republicans what they want, who stands against structural reform that will allow the government to finally solve actual problems. You didn't run for as that because you knew that wouldn't be popular, and the polls are demonstrating that. So you know exactly what you were sent to do. You're just refusing to do it because the people that got you elected aren't the ones that are gonna make you incredibly wealthy. Francesca?
Yeah, money is bipartisan, and I will go wherever the money is. And you need to remember that about me, and I don't owe you anything. I mean, she drips with contempt. Look, we all know politicians hate our guts. I mean, they hate us. They want us to die. They want us to live in poverty. They want us to be locked up. They do not like us. And Kyrsten Sinema every single damn day reminds, I mean, say what you will about Nancy Pelosi's like, fridge full of ice cream, whatever you think, her certain elitism, the disdain that Kyrsten Sinema has for her own voters and for the American people, like, is just unrivaled.
And you can hear it in her voice. Like, I saw you cringing from the fake, like, faux concern and gravitas in her voice. I don't give a damn about any of this. There's nothing you can do.
I'm telling you, what is the school of stone cold bitches that they go to? It's Ivanka Trump and Tulsi Gabbard, and they're like, okay, now you're not gonna feel anything. Here, we're gonna put a starving baby in front of you and it's gonna cry. That's just my life right now. And you're not gonna feel anything. And they're just like, you've passed, here you go, certificate.
Okay, I'm trying, at some point I'm gonna bring this up because someone gave me a heads up for something funny that's related to this, and we will get to that. Okay. But yeah, no, she's just the worst. Oh, by the way, here's a little bonus extra garbage person. Jake Tapper, you're a piece of garbage. Your voting record is very moderate and centrist. Well, of course, he is for corporate media what she is as a senator, a person who has helped to craft these absolute BS labels that whatever you think of Kyrsten Sinema, she's not moderate. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm just trying to be reasonable and centrist. She is wildly outside of the mainstream of what her constituents want.
Yes.
We don't necessarily have readily available terminology that's acceptable on cable news for how she's a radical, what sort of radical she is, but she is a radical. It is radical to give the middle finger to all of the people who voted for you, to utterly ignore their problems, to stand single-handedly as an obstacle in the way for progress to much needed solutions to problems facing the American people. That is not moderate. That is not centrist. That is wildly radical. But it's Jake Tapper's job to pretend like those sorts of people are utterly reasonable. And you're being unfair if you criticize her. And by the way, he transitions to that basic idea. He prepares her for the sort of criticism she'll get. Let's go to this video now.
You've been a target of the left, and people have been very critical of you. They're going to call you every name in the book after this comes out. They're going to call you a traitor. They're going to call you an ingrate. What are you going to say?
Well, I think I'll do what I always do, Jake, which is keep doing the work that I know is important for my state.
Yeah, that's what she'll do for the state. Well, maybe for the Chamber of Commerce in the state. By the way, so someone told me that her personal Instagram is a dumpster fire, and when you go to it, every single comment is dragging her. And so, but again, she doesn't care. These commenters are not going to be allowed on her massive compound that she will buy. She is being paid. She set fire to her former friendships and her former colleagues and everything. All these people who used to like her have no respect for her whatsoever. She knows that. She is now an utter martyr, except from the wealthy people. And the wealthy people are the ones at the parties she goes to. You don't get invited to those parties. So your scorn means nothing. You're just peasants who think you live in a democracy to her. That's all it is.
First of all, the left is not criticizing Kyrsten Sinema. Every Democrat is criticizing Kyrsten Sinema. I think that one interesting thing to note about this time frame where we see how Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema have held up real progress when we have the majority, when we have the White House, when we could actually get things, but they want to stop them and or only pass them if it behooves them personally, is it has actually radicalized a lot of centrists and a lot of sort of basic liberals who weren't that into politics, don't really know who's in the Senate necessarily, not necessarily like progressives or Bernie folks. And this is a good thing. I think it's good that we have something in common with folks who might not be like, I don't know, anti-capitalist or socialist, whatever. Like we have something in common, which is we hate Senator Sinema and Senator Manchin, and we hate how undemocratic the Senate is and how it does not work. And we've seen firsthand how it doesn't work. So when Tapper's like the left, first of all, who is the left, right? Like I wish we were a force to be reckoned with more so than we are. And number two, that's totally untrue. Everyone has been critical of Kyrsten Sinema.
Yeah, and she's earned it. One final thought. This is something that we're gonna have to reckon with going forward. And I hope that we're all gonna be allies on this. So she now won't be primaried because she's not a Democrat anymore. There will be a Democratic candidate who will run. Maybe it's Ruben Gallego, I don't know. But there will be someone who runs against her. So it's likely that we will be facing a 3-candidate race.
Ugh.
I don't know exactly how that shakes out. Maybe it ends up with the angry Democrats rallying behind the actual candidate. Maybe it results in, and just prepare yourself for this, Senator Kari Lake.
Sure.
She'll run again. Kyrsten Sinema will do everything she can to split the Democratic vote.
Yes.
Does a crazy Republican make it through? Maybe.
No, she'll split the Republican vote. But here, watch how she'll become anti-establishment. Watch how she'll start to say things like free speech. She'll start to like talk about like the forever wars. She'll start to try to sort of out left the like Ruben Gallego. Watch how this happens, even though she's so full of it. And those are just sort of like talking points that we've seen lifted up by grifters time and time again, even though of course we're against forever wars. We're against like, we understand all these things, but it's the Tulsi tack, it's that track. She's gonna try and play that card, even though she is dripping in money herself.
Yeah, 100%. No, that's a great prediction. So definitely watch for that. When I don't even think that she normally talks about foreign policy, so that'll be interesting.
Sure.
But the thing about this is, and I want everyone to have this on your radar so that you can let us know, this path that she's treading, like it's not like there's 1,000 different versions of it. We've seen it, whether it's politicians like Tulsi Gabbard or people like Dave Rubin or others. There's certain points that you have to hit to be popular with these people that you're trying to appeal to or whatever. So I think that pretending that you care about the forever wars while being totally in favor of drone strikes and torture and all that, that's definitely one of them. Do you think that it's a bridge too far that she will start talking about drag queen story hours?
No, not at all.
Or groomers?
No, she will. She'll do what needs to be done. I mean, I think Kari Lake better watch out. I think Ruben Gallego though he's gonna win the nomination if he runs.
I hope so. Well, we'll see. I mean, God only knows. It's a long time from now. Okay, those were not the only garbage people of the week, though. I know that we've never gone as deep into a garbage person as that, but I felt like it needed it. But anyway, you all voted. In fact, 56,000 of you voted for your community garbage person of the week. And okay, wow, there was a far and away winner. Well, coming in at number 5 with 2% of the vote is Herschel Walker, a hopefully final chance of getting the title. Man, nobody was interested in Herschel Walker. Coming in number 4 with 7% of the vote is Tucker Carlson for still pretending the Hunter laptop is a big deal. Coming in at number 2 and 3, tied with 10% of the vote, you have Mitch McConnell and Kevin McCarthy for expecting a handshake from Capitol Police officers' family members. That was pretty funny. And Samuel Alito for making a terrible joke about the KKK. Ugh. But no, 71% of you voted for Donald Trump to be a community garbage person of the week for calling to suspend the Constitution. You never can guess what's gonna get everyone to agree, but yeah, utterly shredding the Constitution, I guess, is a bridge too far. So thank you to all of you who voted.
So obvious, guys. You guys are so basic. So he wants to get rid of the Constitution. Basic.
He just hates, the status quo, like the constitutional status quo. Anyway. Okay, well, with that, we have a lot of other news to get to, shockingly. We're gonna take a break, but we'll be right back. Okay, apologies to everyone. I have set us at least 8 minutes behind schedule. So that's gonna have ramifications going forward, but we're gonna address them together. Anyway, with that said, here's what's going on out there. Jojo in the members' comment says, Jesse Waters can't take a woke. God, their use of the term woke. Man, what a gift to them to never have to think, ever. Just say a word, the same word for everything.
Yep.
It's even one syllable. Like they don't even have to try in using the word.
Yep.
They don't have to they can just be fully reclined, angry at everyone who's not like them and say one sentence, woke. And they just communicate everything. It's such a savings of energy. I know. Yeah. Eric the Red says, animal news, huh? Is this gonna be about Sprocket? I feel like we've covered all of the major news about Sprocket recently. We've got other news to get to. Daniel, member for 16 months, says, so is Francesca is playing game tonight since she's here on Friday. I do not believe Francesca will be joining Game Busters, but Francesca, you will be joining us for the first hour of the Power Panel, right?
Oh my God, yeah, I know.
Yeah, it'll be a good chance for us to talk politics together.
Yeah, we never get a chance to do that, so
we don't.
Well, TBD, I'll be more coherent then, maybe.
Maybe, but also like if we do cover, for instance, like Kyrsten Sinema, that means that when Cenk goes off for 15 minutes straight, it'll be okay.
Yeah, exactly. We got our yayas out.
Yeah. May Money into building, member for 23 months. May Money says, might want to check on Trashy, John. Looks like he's going to hurl hot garbage all over your desk. Take better care of him. He has a tough job. When is that live show in the city again? I'm going.
Yay, January 22nd, Sunday at 8 p.m. at Piano Fight Bar.
Nice. Jonathan Toten gifted 5 memberships over on YouTube. Thank you, Jonathan. That's very nice of you. Gert Johnson became a tier 1 member. Much appreciated. RJL Network member for 23 months says Block Dragon says that it's almost 2 years that I've been a member of the Great Dragon Squad. TDR, TYT, JR, and Unbossed all help America. Thank you. And Indisputable as well. Thank you, everybody. Shoe Freak Dragon member for 21 months says, hey, Francesca y Papi Dragon. I heard you learned Spanish, John. I am learning it mostly in the reading context.
What about, a ver, puedes decir algo o no?
No. No. I don't want to say what I think you said because it's definitely not. What was that sentence?
Can you say something or not? And you were just like,
no,
not.
I thought it was can you.
But not before turning completely red.
Yeah, no. So I did suspect that was can you. And I did recognize something, but not enough to put that into a coherent
Puedes decir algo? You could just say no, or sí, or no quiero.
Evidently not, no. So I've been doing Duolingo for a very long time, and I'm like reading it, I'm getting more. It's so fast when people speak it.
I know that, but also that owl is really toxic. He's just like, you left me, oh my God. And you're like, calm down.
Oh, had you been doing Duolingo?
I've done it, yeah, I was doing it for Italian. And then I was like, Duo, you're just a little too demanding.
It is demanding, but you gotta keep that streak up. I'm at like 176 days. I don't wanna lose that streak. So anyway, I'm very much enjoying it, and I'm working up to what I want to be able to do to learn it more is I want to read Harry Potter in Spanish. It's a kid's book, but I open it up and there's a lot of words.
Hunger Games. Read the Hunger Games in Spanish. Es muy bueno. Muy bueno. Sí,
and less transphobic.
Sí.
Okay, I might have to do that. But anyway, I'm very much enjoying learning it. We'll get back to more.
Los Juegos de Hambre. Sorry.
I want to learn it. I want to at least get to the point where I can understand it better. Because I know a good number of words, but
no. But here you're at the point. I know you
get overwhelmed.
You've got to drink a little bit, get a little tipsy, and then speak. That's when I taught English. Yeah, when you loosen up and stop. It doesn't matter if you mess up. Just speak. That's important.
Okay. Wait, hold on. DJ BT says, John, you're being like one of the guys who thinks they can speak Japanese because they watch subbed anime. I'm not acting like I can do literally anything right now. I'm acting the exact opposite of that. I refused to even try. Anyway, I'm pathetic, but not in the way you're saying. Anyway, with that said, we have important news to get to and very little time to get to it. So let's start with this. The House has gone and done it, approved an absolutely massive defense bill. This is the yearly reauthorization of the National Defense Authorization Act, 350 to 80, so wildly in favor the House was. 45 Democrats, 35 Republicans voted no. And you should know that it is awful in a lot of different ways. First of all, it is an absolutely massive amount of money. We're gonna get into that. Some of what it includes, terrible. Some of what it doesn't include, maybe even worse. I do wanna be clear though, some people did oppose this. So that includes progressives like Jamal Bowman, Cori Bush. You've got Jesus Garcia, Pramila Jayapal, Ro Khanna, Barbara Lee, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Mark Pocan. Hey, Mark Pocan on the right side this time. Katie Porter, Ayanna Pressley, Jamie Raskin, Rashida Tlaib. There were some others as well. So good on them for standing against this. It is, in terms of like campaign ads and stuff, difficult to vote this way because they will immediately make a million ads about how you want America to be invaded by Portugal or something. But it was $858 billion, not for the rest of time, to be clear, just for the year. It's $80 billion more than it was last year, $118 billion more than it was when Biden entered office. That increase from when Biden entered office would be more than enough for us to safeguard America. That is instead just the increase that we've given. By the way, that's not even the entire budget. It is individually more than the combined military budgets of China, India, the UK, Russia, France, Germany, Saudi Arabia, Japan, and South Korea. It's also, by the way, more than the annual gross domestic product of countries including Saudi Arabia, Sweden, Switzerland, and Turkey, based on numbers provided by the UN. So it is a massive amount of money. It is way more money than anyone objectively thinks the world's militaries need, let alone one country. It is way more than the military even, or certainly the Biden administration wants. We're gonna get into some of the specifics on that, but Francesca, what do you think?
This is not the country I want to live in. I don't want to live in a country that pours $800 billion plus into the military and gives nothing to education, to stopping climate chaos, to housing, to healthcare, to the most basic of things, right? I just had a kid 2 months ago, and I buy insurance, and even then, when I pay through pocket, like I've said this before, it is so expensive. It's prohibitively expensive to have a family, and let alone raise it. I'm talking about birth a child in this country. It's prohibitively expensive to go get an MRI. I hurt my knee in labor, and I'm not going to get an MRI because I don't want $1,000 copay. Now I'm making this all about me, but you guys heard me. Like, I am tired of living in this country that puts people not just second, but 12th, 22nd, right? Like, where do we factor in once everyone else has got their payday? When do we have basic needs met?
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not refusing to work. I'm not asking for a nanny state like Republicans think. But again, it's socialism for the rich and capitalism for everybody else, for the 99%. And here you go again. What are we gonna do with this money? Everyone's yapping about, oh, we let out a weapons dealer in Russia. We are a weapons dealer. The United States is a weapons dealer. Okay, 100%. like we're actually upset about this. So I look forward to a day when this is not our country. But for right now, I'm once again just not proud of it.
Yeah, 100%. It's insane. It's insane that the base ask for reduction in this isn't 50%, 60%, 70%. Like you are considered radical if you just say, hey, could we slow down the rate of increase? No serious person who is not making bank off of this thinks we need anything like this. And if we were going to be spending money to protect you, because after all, that's what the military is about. It's literally called national defense. How vulnerable do you feel to Moroccan tanks? Like on the list of things that threaten your well-being, let alone life, like a dude from Madagascar with an AR-15 is not high up on that list. You can take a tiny portion of this and make all higher education free. Would that not produce a safer, better country? For a tiny little fraction, 1 day's operating amount of this, you could strip all of the lead pipes from around the country. Would that not protect your safety? You could do increased regulations on environmental toxins, pollutants, plastic in the water and everything, in the air. The things that are actually killing you, because Russians are unlikely to. I know China's scary and everything. Chinese people are probably not gonna kill you though. There are a lot of things that might kill you. We could put some of this money into solving those problems. But military contractors don't make money in that particular way. Anyway.
Yeah, we're coming out of a pandemic.
But
we got to move on. Are you going to get into some of the details on this?
Yeah, I want to get into the details actually. So
Go
why
ahead.
don't we do that? This absolutely massive defense bill that the House voted in favor of. Let's talk a little bit about what that $858 billion price tag includes. First of all, if anybody tells you that's what our defense budget is, no, sorry, it's actually quite a bit more than that. That doesn't include spending on the US nuclear arsenal, contributions to Ukraine's defense, or veterans benefits. Those are all massive expenses. By the way, Massachusetts Peace Action noted that the Pentagon recently failed its 5th consecutive annual audit. But whatever, we should give them close to $1 trillion anyway. I mean, they're gonna bungle it and they're gonna lose money and there's gonna be corruption over and over and over again. We know that, but whatevs, I guess. By the way, they point out that 2.9 million children in the US were lifted out of poverty back in 2021 by the child tax credit, but that program expired after just a year. And now our elected officials have decided to spend an equivalent amount on increasing the war budget, something that actually protected vulnerable children. Screw you kids, give us that money back. Now we're gonna throw it into additional jets or something.
And we'll send you to war when you're 18.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, we want you to be desperate, honestly, because we need you to be compliant soldiers who are ready to sign up. The bill also includes rescinding of the COVID vaccine mandate, because why not? Again, just as a little reminder that this is not about safeguarding people, to be clear. Here are some things that could have been in it that they successfully blocked. So negotiators on the House Armed Services Committee agreed to drop a provision from Representative James McGovern that would have banned arms sales and transfers to any government that has committed genocide or violations of international humanitarian law. Another drop provision from Representative Jerry Connolly would have limited future offensive arms sales to Saudi Arabia until the country stops targeting dissidents at home and abroad. It also dropped a House provision that would have codified into US law funding and support for irregular forces under the NDAA section 1202, while banning that assistance if those groups have committed gross human rights violations. We're gonna get into some of the extra stuff they piled on, but all of these attempts to not have the money go to the worst people on our planet, no, there's no stopping that. Because sure, it results in tons of people being needlessly killed, innocents being gunned down, bombed, killed in terror attacks, all that. But it makes people money, so no, we're just gonna keep doing that.
Yeah, the weapon contractors need to eat, people. I mean, yeah, families need to eat actually, but no, the weapons contractors need a third vacation home, and that is what this is about. That number being the same as the child tax credit for a year, like my heart is breaking in a million pieces. When is it? And this is the thing about Biden that I have to say is the biggest thing that stood out for me with Bernie Sanders, right? I think that when Obama was in office, he started to steer the country, and you guys can disagree with me, but began to steer the country away from like, hey, we need endless war, hegemony, da 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 da. Yes, there were drone strikes, absolutely, but there were boots on the ground wars was seen as like that. We're done with that, right? And there was a little bit of a like, hey, we're in a, there's multiple countries. It's a multipolar world. There's other countries out there, and the right was like, oh my God, there are other countries. How dare you? Iran's not a country. China's not a country. Cuba's not a country. And Obama administration started to turn, and Biden was part of that. But it takes an actual vision for a different foreign policy to rip and wrest some of this money away from the military. You can't do it with the status quo. You can't do it with the same old crap. You have to lay down the line and say, absolutely not, we're gonna spend $800 billion while people are dying sick in the streets and do not have a place to live. I'm sorry, that's just not what we're going to do. And the only person who's laid that out is Bernie Sanders, is some of these progressives that I hope will get, will run for office in the future, and stop letting the right and our political war machinery keep on pulling them back to this kind of a budget. Anyway, so all to say that like what I'm saying is Obama tried a little bit and got hounded for it. Biden is definitely tacked right when it comes to comparing him to Obama, tacked right when it comes to foreign policy, tougher on China, supposedly tougher, more belligerent towards China, let's put it that way. And here we are back to the same stuff.
Yeah, not endlessly raising the budget, requiring additional amphibious ships that the White House doesn't want, a third Arleigh Burke-class destroyer that costs $2.2 billion that the White House doesn't want, a ton of money for the sea-launched cruise missile development program that the Biden administration tried to stop. It prevents the administration from retiring this massive 83 megaton gravity bomb program that they were trying to stop. These are instances in which the White House, Biden, was actually trying to stop these programs in part to save money. And the thing is, while Biden obviously still wants to deliver for wealthy people, he's got donors. There's they have bought out Congress, and that is why these sorts of things get killed. Needless weapons that nobody wants except for the manufacturers who want to continue to make them and sell them. Anyway, there's a lot more that could be said about this. Unfortunately, we have to move on. There's so much to get to. We're gonna take another break. When we come back, we're gonna be pivoting to a totally different topic. We'll see you in just a few. Okay, before we jump into the comments, give me one more sentence in Spanish, but slow down a little bit and see if I can get any of it.
Hoy perdió Brasil. Se fue del mundial.
I got a little bit of that, but I didn't get the verb in the first sentence.
Perder.
No, I don't
Perder. Here, I'll say it in hoy perdió.
I know what letters you're saying. I don't know what it means.
Y fue muy triste. Y no sé qué va a pasar porque Neymar está muy grande ya. Y no está muy fuera, no sé, muy viejo. Muy viejo y ya no está joven.
I get some of that.
Okay.
I got a few words.
I got to Americanize it for you.
Okay, thank you. No, that wasn't the problem. Although it was appreciated, thank you. Okay, with that said, Sassenach Dragon said in a super chat, you need to redo the garbage poll and add Kyrsten Sinema. How dare she do this immediately after the GA runoff? Well, she would have just won. Let's be clear about that. Coney says in a super chat, or Connie, sorry. By the way, I'm gonna forget that again. I apologize. It's not personal. I'm stupid. Sorry.
Connie 2020. Connie 2012. What was it?
2012, I think it was. 2012. Connie, starting March 19th, my day can't start without my daily Dragon Daddy fix, John. As long as we see your, I can't read that. Thank you.
Uh-oh.
I can't read it, but thank you.
That took a turn.
I don't want to read that.
Connie.
Six Dragon says, John, your hair looks fine. Also, I'm healing well. I can almost walk. Happy Thursday. Oh, that's a carryover from yesterday. Well, thank you for the message, even though it seemed like a bit of a neg. Anyway, Kai says, yay, John and Francesca. I haven't had a chance to say welcome back, Francesca, and congrats.
Thank you.
Oh, nice.
I got 5 hours of intermittent sleep.
Yay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Progressive Canuck says, a fantastic Friday. Heated up before the cold weekend ahead up here in the north. Lol, thank you all at TDR for all of your hard, awesome work. Well, thank you very much. Brad says 80 billion. Wasn't Bernie's proposal for free college estimated to be less than that? Yes. However, will we pay for that? Oh, I forgot. That only applies when the money goes to the people. 100%. Yeah. There's no like right now. If you were to tune into MSNBC, do you think they're having a conversation about how we're going to pay for it?
No, and then we're like, hey, like Social Security also takes up a huge amount of our national budget, and Republicans are like, oh my God, we're just indebting the future. Like, no, you're literally investing in the future with Social Security. Why would you take it away?
100%.
Or privatize it, whatever they want to do. Sorry.
Yeah. Trekkie Dragon sent a super chat saying, Ferengi rules of acquisition number 34, war is good for business. But let's not forget number 10, greed is eternal. Yeah, I love this. Okay, let's see. Over on Twitch, Matt Gates on a white Bronco has been with us for 12 months, says 12-month anniversary here. Also, the mainstream media is discussing the Trump documents. Like if a rescue team found the top secret documents on an archaeological site, he took them, period. Yeah, they didn't manifest there. He took them, put them somewhere, and then they got shipped there. That's what actually happened. Okay, Ravenlight, member for 14 months, well, a subscriber on Twitch says, it's days like today and the intermittent comments on John's hair are the reasons why I'm glad I'm part of the Twitch TYT fam. Love y'all. Thank you. Well, now you can mock me for both the hair and my inability to discern any Spanish whatsoever. Maybe we'll test it more after the next break.
We love you, John.
Say it in Spanish.
Te queremos.
I get some stuff. Could you put it in the form of words with cartoons by them, please? Because I find that a lot.
Should I look like Duolingo, like?
Yeah. Can you pretend to be like a really like emo teenager?
Oh, here's what you need to say right before break. You need to say a continuación, which means like right after the break. After the break, a continuación, we're gonna talk about Kyrsten Sinema or whatever.
Thank you. I'm not gonna do that yet, but thank you. Okay, with that said, okay, we have to get through these two topics, okay? So let's jump right into this one.
I'll tell you my priority. protect religious liberty, protect people of faith, and protect Americans who believe in the true meaning of marriage. I hope and pray that my colleagues will find the courage to join me in opposing this misguided and this dangerous bill. And I yield back.
Yeah, that is Representative Vicky Hartzell of Missouri. And I have this thing as, I don't know if it's because I'm a lefty or the way I was raised, but when I see someone crying, I'm inclined to feel bad for them. It's just a reflex. I can't stop it. But now I'm good. She's the worst because she was crying there, desperately trying to get the House to not pass the already incredibly weak sauce Respect for Marriage Act. Because let's be very clear, Representative Vicky Hartzell so opposes the idea of two people who love each other in a way that she doesn't like being together that she wants to stop federal recognition of it happening, which would be bad enough, except you have to add in the context that it has been legal for years and years at this point, and she's still breaking down in tears in her fight to stop those people from being together. She's the sort of person that would have told you in advance of the Supreme Court legalizing it that society will crumble if gay people can get married. And despite the fact that she wouldn't be able to point to a single negative consequence of years of uninterrupted marriages happening all over the place, nothing bad happening, only love and people coming together, she's still breaking down in tears. She's not breaking down in tears because of her passion or her values. It is utter weakness. She is broken and can't see what healthy relationships are actually about, and so she wants to stop them from even happening.
You know, I think Dr. Ritchie needs to come in and just talk about the Karenicity of that moment, right?
Yes.
There is a moment in all Karenicity, right? It is the third act of being a Karen, and that is the cry, right? First, it is the outrage, the epithet, the calling the police, the being a tattletale on some stuff that isn't even against any laws, and then the cry. I give you act 3, and that is the cry. What is the cry? The cry is you minding your own business and living your life somehow victimizes me. How does that work? I don't know, but there are tears, so I take precedent over everything. Like, how in the hell is someone marrying who they love? How does that hurt you? How does that hurt you? How does that affect your life? Unless it's like your husband who's straight up trying to leave you for his lover, in which I feel like might be the case right now.
I have no idea. I'm sure that explains some people, but there's also just people who they're messed up and they want other people to be unhappy and to be lonely and to be apart.
If they can't be unhappy, if they get to be happy, then whatever it is, they want everyone to be as unhappy as she is.
Yeah,
I didn't quite.
I hate it. Anyway, the good thing, a quick heads up to the TD. If we can get ready, I think we can fit in E next. But final point on this story, she thankfully, while she has been in Congress since 2011, she will not be returning in 2023. She lost her campaign for an open Senate seat. So she's like a lame duck. And yeah, so she's gonna have to take her tears on the road, I guess, because she won't have a platform for spreading her hatred and fear and homophobia and all that in the very near future. Okay, with that said, why don't we jump to one more topic? Senator Thom Tillis says that he's against this Pregnant Workers Fairness Act, and he's stopping it from going forward because of his concerns over abortion, which I wanna be very clear, is not in any way a part of this bill. There is nothing about abortion in it, but he's still gonna stop these rights from being enshrined in law. Take a look.
I have to begin by thanking my friend and colleague, the senator from Pennsylvania, for his efforts to ensure that pregnant women have access to accommodations, reasonable accommodations at work. They need to have healthy pregnancies. As the husband of a wife who had 2 children while she was working and the grandfather of 2 grandchildren with a daughter who's a nurse, I absolutely want to make sure that those sort of reasonable accommodations are accounted for. However, in its current form, this legislation before us would give federal bureaucrats at the EEOC authority to mandate that employers nationwide provide accommodations such as leave to obtain abortions on demand under the guise of pregnancy pregnancy-related condition.
So look, he's lying about the implications there. I just want to be very clear about that. He's lying. He's trying to draw abortion into this because he thinks that will get right-wingers to despise it. But to be clear, he probably also would just be fine with stopping the bill anyway because it is a mild set of regulations on business. Let's be very clear about what this actually does. It's not about abortion. It's, for instance, workplaces have to allow pregnant women to use the bathroom. They have to have time and access to the bathroom. Minor accommodations so that people's lives during a very difficult time are not an absolute living hell. So it's possible that he's just deluded about this abortion thing. It's also possible that he just doesn't care what happens to pregnant women. In any event, the result of this is that we don't know what will end up happening with this in terms of the law, but he's trying to kill it. These minor additional rights finally being made law. Now we have an actual recently pregnant person here. Francesca, what do you think about this?
I mean, it's once again Republican hypocrisy times a million. I've been putting out the call. If a right winger wanted to pay or still wants to pay for any of my prenatal or postnatal or childcare, Venmo me, baby. I am absolutely willing to accept your money if you actually believe in families and supporting babies. But you don't, and guess who's greater than their the veneer of caring about families and babies? Who comes first before babies? Corporations. And if there is a chance that a corporation would have to mandate that a pregnant person get a moment of rest or be able to sit down or be able to use the restroom or be able to have a sick day because they're nauseous because they have a morning sickness. No. We absolutely cannot miss out on money. We can't. And so again, we see their hypocrisy all the time. And lastly, look, we just come out of a pandemic. We just came out of a moment where millions of people left the workforce because they had to stay at home with kids, because they were not making ends meet. Who are those people? 9 times out of 10, they've been women. They've been women, and largely moms have been forced out of the workplace. And not just like a few thousand, in hundreds of thousands, in millions of people have quit the workforce, and those are women. And it's because of things like this, because of not being able to be pregnant or have a small child or be nursing when you also have to work. And that is what the Republicans want. They're well, you shouldn't work in the first place. Women should be in the home, like cooking. It's like, yeah, baby.
That's what they actually believe. Yeah.
Oh, I'm down to do that. Can we survive on one income in this economy? No. Because y'all you're robbing everything from us, okay?
Not unless you support Matt's Patreon, at least. It's gonna be tough.
Exactly. I'm sorry.
Great points. That's totally true. And look, it's also possible that they just don't want to set up a precedent where businesses actually have to care about you being human. Like, if pregnant women get time to go pee, then shouldn't Amazon delivery drivers get time to go pee? They don't care about you. Your biology is an inconvenience to the corporate machine. Anyway, with that said, thank you everyone. We've got a lot more to come after this break, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Aftermath, everybody, with me, John Iadarola. Francesca Fiorentini is still here, and we have a special treat in just a second. I do want to let everyone who might be a recent entrant to the show know that you can, of course, hit the like button to make sure that everybody knows that we're live. We're gonna be getting to some other news to close things out, including animal news. We want to end the week on a fun note, but we do have serious business to get to first, so let's start off talking about this. Oh, we probably don't have B-roll for this, dude. Okay. In the immediate aftermath of the announcement that Brittney Griner was going to be returned, the reaction from the right wing was pretty disgusting. Well, they were only getting started. And in the day since then, they've been competing with each other to say the most disgusting thing about this deal. Tucker Carlson claims that Paul Whelan was forced to remain in prison in Russia because he's white. Because you cannot forget for a single day that Tucker Carlson is a white supremacist and his audience loves that about him. Charlie Kirk says, if you're a WNBA pot-smoking black lesbian, do you get treated better than a United States Marine?
My God.
They love feeling freed up to attack people for having those identities, certainly. Matt Walsh says Brittney Griner will return to us more committed to her own self-victimization and personal resentments than ever before. And in his defense, he is an actual expert on self-victimization and personal resentments. And finally, Steven Crowder says that she's not the best among us. And then, like every right-wing hack wannabe comedian starts talking about how little respect he has for women's basketball. So the attacks have come in a variety of forms, but they're all pretty bad. Joining us now is a reporter who's been working in this area, politics reporter for the Rolling Stone, Nikki McCann Ramirez. Welcome back to the Damage Report.
Thank you for having me back.
Always glad to have you here. I apologize for bringing you on to talk about this particular topic, but you did a profile of some of this, including from Marjorie Greene, who wants action taken based on this deal. What have you been finding in your research?
Yeah, I think generally the reaction from Republican politicians has been, very measured. Congratulations to Griner and her family for returning to the United States. But at the same time, using this as a cudgel to browbeat the Biden administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene called for Biden to be impeached over Paul Whelan still remaining in prison. And I think it's important for people to remember that Paul Whelan was arrested in Russia in 2018 while Trump was still president. And there were intense negotiations at the time to secure his release. The way the Russian government is treating Whelan's case, they've accused him of espionage, is far different from how they treated Griner's. And I think it's important to remember that now that Griner has been released, it's a good thing that there's a spotlight on Whelan's case. But I do not think it's fair to characterize this as an abandonment. I think there's now been 2 administrations who have been working hard to get him back to the United States. And the Russian government has treated it as essentially a non-starter.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they, I guess, get to decide. I mean, to be clear, it's not like they acted initially as if it was up to Brittney, or that it was up to Joe Biden, that he got to choose and he had to choose which button to press. There's no evidence of that. And when it comes to Marjorie Greene's claim that he should be impeached for this, just out of curiosity, do you happen to know how many times she's called for him to be impeached? And in your research, did you find any evidence that she knew who Paul Whelan was a week ago?
Not really. I think the last count, I think my editors and I were talking about this yesterday, and we think it's been at least 3 times. That she's filed articles, I think. And I mean, I think for me, another important thing to remember here is that Paul Whelan's case is absolutely important. I think the case of any US citizen who is being held by foreign nationals is important. And I don't think it's fair to say that any government is just kind of, letting them sit there. I think in the criticism that is being leveled against Biden, it's also important to remember that when it comes down to deciding who gets out, it's usually a matter of what you have on the table. There's been cases like Otto Warmbier, who was held by the North Korean government, and despite intense efforts to get him back, ended up going into a coma and dying before we could even figure out what his condition was. When you say no to a trade offer of this nature, you're potentially condemning that person to horrible abuse or even death. So I think it's not fair for these critics. And of course, they never operate in good faith really when discussing these sorts of things. It always comes down to, as you mentioned earlier, using this as a cudgel against identity politics, using this as a way to stick it to the libs. And I think there's a valid discussion to be had about Victor Bout and what the thought process was behind approving this trade. But fundamentally, what the Biden administration was considering was the life and safety of one captive or the life and safety of no captive.
100%. You had mentioned that the politicians seem to be being like cautious, I guess, in their commentary. Did you find any examples in terms of the pundits, the hosts, and all of that? Because I know that they're all independent thinkers. Did any of them see this as a good thing? Did any of them consider this to be a good thing that Biden had done?
Actually, yeah. Rand Paul was on Fox, and he was actually very measured in his critique of the Biden administration, pushed back on suggestions that the US government had played their last card for negotiations with Russia in terms of detained Americans. He brought up the possibility of sanctions, of upping the penalties on Russian oligarchs who are conducting illegal activities throughout the United States. I think a lot of these cases get viewed through a very microscopic lens, and it's hard to get the full scope of what assets each country has and what things they can bring to the negotiating table. So Rand Paul actually was very measured about it, didn't buy into the sort of bait Fox was giving him about like, oh, the Biden administration did a bad thing here. He was actually very congratulatory to Griner and her family.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be clear. This is not really a question, just a commentary. Let's be clear, like if this were Trump, they would be congratulating him left, right, and center. They would invite Brittney Griner to speak at the RNC, and she'd probably not agree with it, and then be like, "See, I tried to save a wokie," when they really mean a Black lesbian, right? Like,
Yeah.
and so it's just incredible that these same. I mean, some of the politicians I know you're saying are more measured, but the same outlets that are like, telling us to basically go easier on Russia, right? That like we shouldn't ask for anything from Russia. Hey, maybe we should completely get out of Ukraine. Just let them have Ukraine. Then suddenly, when there's actual diplomacy, when something happens, when we're actually working with Russia, as they've always said, we should just work with Russia. Then they are like, no, this was a terrible trade. And it really comes down to who was freed. And once again, John, now they're making fun of women's sports. I thought they wanted to protect women's sports.
I thought they were big fans. It needs to be defended 100%. Well, so finally, like looking forward, I know they're going to be continuing to try to bring Paul Whelan back. And in fact, I believe at the press conference, the family of Brittney Griner was even talking about how they want to be a continuing part of that. So do we have any idea of like what the prospects for that look like at this point? Is there any chance that happens in the next couple of years?
I think one can only hope, given the track record of Russia's treatment of Paul Whelan's case. It's really a matter of the right circumstances at the right time, having the right leverage over the Russian government. He's been sentenced to 16 years in prison. We know that he's been hospitalized at least once in their custody.
Wow.
I think it's a matter of, putting the Biden administration, putting their foot on the gas and taking advantage of this moment where there is a lot of public attention on Whelan to put pressure on the Russian government to play ball.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you joining us to break it down. Everyone should definitely follow your work at Rolling Stone. Where else can they follow you to keep up with updates on what you're covering?
I can be found on Twitter and TikTok at Nikki MCR, Nikki with 2 Ks.
Awesome. Thank you, Nikki. Have a good day.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you. We've got more news we're gonna get to. I just wanna respond to a few of your comments before we jump into it. Son of George sent in a super chat saying, if you give a rat a treat, special interest money perks, every time they press the lever, they're just gonna keep pressing it harder and more often. Yes, Kyrsten Sinema is effectively addicted now. Thank you, Ashley, I appreciate that. Progressive Canuck says, I agree with Rochelle, but the Republicans, they will spin it for their advantage. Say that if you're complaining, you're not working hard enough, get a second job or something. There are plenty of jobs, stop being lazy, it's methodical. Well, yeah, at the same time, they also want to get people out of the workforce, I guess. Anyway, Mox Dragon says, how about making the garbage person wall of shame? I like that. James Cruiser, the Fuzzy Dragon, says, I wish I could see you guys live in SF, but I'll be in Park City watching the premiere of a film I worked on, Fremont, at the Sundance Film Festival.
Oh, what a humble brag you've got going on.
Yeah, 100%.
Excuse us. I'm just kidding. That's very cool.
That sounds pretty good. Maybe I should go to that instead. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Anyway, I just want to say A4G Production, thank you for your super chat, which was written in Spanish, and I got like 80% of it, I think.
John did not know what besos meant.
I don't know words that haven't been covered in Duolingo.
Guys, Duo is holding. I'm telling you, Duo is toxic. He's withholding love, withholding besos from someone who's put in 176 days.
I guess. Anyway, thank you for what you said. And there was a nice compliment of Karina there too. So
yes, thank you.
Anyway, the Dark Phoenix says, I have over 250 days learning German on Duolingo. Gotta bring up those numbers, mein Freund. I don't know German, to be clear, or Spanish, or much of English. Lovely Pariah has been a member for 3 months and then gifted a membership. Thank you for that. Let's see, Quasita the Q Dragon says, Dragon Daddy just learn. And then there's Spanish here, which I believe says a little, my Spanish is very bad or very sick. But I think I understood it, I get the meaning. And you'll be covered for the speech struggle. Former ESL teacher, watch movies, TV with subtitles. It genuinely helps. I've actually been doing that a little bit on Netflix. I throw up
just say the comment out loud, you coward.
Not yet. Get off my back. I'm learning slowly, it's hard. Anyway, okay, with that said, oh God, we have so much to talk about. Let's jump to this H block right now. Trevor Noah has left The Daily Show. 7 years tenure as its host. He joined The Daily Show in, having to fill the massive shoes of Jon Stewart. For many people in America, he was unknown at that point. And through the course of the 7 years of him leading the show, they brought on tons of new faces. They addressed the news in a different way. They had to go through, more than 2 years of the pandemic, which was a very different way of doing the show. And Trevor had to, steer the ship during that period. He is now leaving the position with no replacement yet chosen. There are some names that will be guest hosting. Leslie Jones of Saturday Night Live, Chelsea Handler, as well as former US Senator Al Franken will be doing guest hosting, as well as other people as well. We don't know if they will choose a full-on replacement. I assume that at some point they will, but Francesca, The Daily Show, I know we each have a history with it, with watching it or applying to it. And we have views of what it could look like going forward, but this is a big thing. He was there for 7 years, so it's the end of an era. I'm wondering what you're thinking.
No, I think it is an end of an era. I think he did an excellent job. I also think he oversaw The Daily Show when the changes just generally to how people consume media and how people consume specifically what The Daily Show had been dishing out so consistently. It is like had been going on, right? For example, The Daily Show was no longer the only place that did media critique, right? So suddenly there were a lot of other people. The Daily Show wasn't the only place that had a progressive kind of left analysis. Suddenly there was, the internet and online streaming just sort of exploded. And so I think also Comedy Central not being like people cutting cords and not having cable, like it was a difficult moment to oversee The Daily Show, to say nothing of the fact that Donald Trump and the entire Trump administration, you'd think it'd be a goldmine for comedians, but honestly, he is a walking joke himself. So living inside of the satire suddenly isn't that funny. You can't make stuff up. You're like, oh yeah, it's like if they booked a press conference at a Four Seasons landscaping company. Like, oh my God, they just did that. So I don't think, to say nothing of the pandemic. So I think that for all those reasons, Trump administration, pandemic, people cord cutting and not really having Comedy Central, that was difficult for him.
Yeah.
And also being an outsider, right? Like being from South Africa and coming into American politics. And I think he did it with a lot of grace. He gave it his own flair. I think his act outs and his act outs to me are probably one of the strongest things that he had. And I think that as a comic, him deciding to take a break or shift and basically go on a massive world stand-up tour is awesome, and he can be completely and fully himself. And I think it's great that The Daily Show overall is taking his time to just have different guest hosts, because I do think that The Daily Show needs to figure out like where it's going, what it is, like what it's gonna look like in the future. I know that the ratings haven't been what they were before, again because of streaming, et cetera. So I think it's smart.
Yeah, I don't know that you cited a lot of good reasons. I don't know that anyone could, like, if John Oliver took over, it wouldn't have the views that it did under Jon Stewart. That's just not what media is like. If Jon Stewart returned to it, which I don't know, maybe they'll try to do that, it would not have the views that it did. Right. But it's important anyway. I think he had a different perspective when he would, like get real, like he would stop being nice and he would start being real. I thought it was good. I didn't know, like by no means did I agree with him on literally everything, but I appreciated his commentary. I'm very interested to see what comes of this. I know, in addition, I think Sarah Silverman is going to be doing some shows too, and of course she's done, hosting. She had her own show, which I actually quite enjoyed for a couple of seasons. Yeah. There's this comedian Francesca Fiorentini, who I think they should bring on to do some guest hosting. I mean, if they want to bring in, a new young left audience, seems like that would be a good way to do it. Al Franken, I have good memories of Al Franken, but those are memories. Yeah. So maybe a direction to go in.
Well, that's interesting, because I do hope that they, I think they'll have Jordan Klepper, but I do hope they have some like unknown comics or some of the writers who, or some of the like Jabuki White would be awesome. I hope that there are fill-ins who people are like, I have no idea who that is, but that's cool. Yeah. And they get exposed to other folks.
Yeah, and you never know what's gonna come of that. I remember when John Oliver did that, like 4 months of standing in for Jon Stewart. As a big fan of Jon Stewart, I was like, who the hell is this Brit and what does he think he's doing? And now, obviously I love him. So you never know what's gonna happen. Anyway, job well done, Trevor. It didn't fit structurally into my news consumption all that often, although I did watch clips from time to time. But whenever I would check in, I appreciate it.
You didn't have to admit that. Just say job well done.
I don't get to consume a lot of.
I never watched. No, I heard you were good. Anyway,
I'm saying what I saw I liked. Anyway, I don't have time for Kimmel either. What do you want out of me? Okay. With that said, we gotta get to just a little bit more fun before we end this thing. So that's enough about dumb humans. Let's talk about some animals. Often in animal news, we profile one animal and it's something cute or something interesting, and we've heard your calls for more conflict. So we're gonna pit a turtle against a tiger shark. Go. I want to be very clear. The turtle survived. Okay, I'm not going to show you a video of a turtle being eaten. The shark was attacking the turtle, and the shark eventually left when the turtle, who was just like, no, dude, no, just go away. Like, do you get that? I have this. You can't. You're not. This isn't going to work for you. So the shark couldn't get his teeth on him. The turtle eventually bites the shark, and the shark ran. So that is great news. It's a loggerhead turtle classified as endangered. It was filmed by drone in Western Australia by drone operator Jack Garnett. Apparently based on the shape of the tail, it is a female tortoise. So it survived. It showed some, not yet. It showed some amazing defensive moves. Great work, turtle. Best turtle in the news, far and away surpassing number 2, Mitch McConnell.
No, that turtle, turtles, they basically swim in circles to kind of like understand like where predators are. Like that's how they swim around people to kind of like understand. So that's how I think, look at his master skills there. Also, it's just like, oh no,
I'm like, get off of me, man. Someone in the audience says this turtle knows capoeira.
Dude, that really was capoeira right there. How you gonna be a shark and just like not get that turt?
If there was another shark watching that first shark is never gonna live that down. Like it's a turtle, and you couldn't make it happen.
This is going viral in the shark community.
Epic
fail. Epic shark
fail. Anyway, good job, turtle. Keep living for the next, I'm gonna say 700 years or whatever it is you guys do. Okay, we do have dog news, and it's unfortunate dog news. Dogs are good boys. Humans can be bad owners because a dog was accidentally sent through the X-ray machine in a backpack, according to the TSA. This happened at Dane County Regional Airport. And they say that it was part of a mix-up where the owner didn't know how the animals are supposed to be scanned, but use your words, man. Like, you don't just put an animal through that. Apparently the animal is okay or whatever. It's a Dachshund Chihuahua mix. It was unharmed when it came out of the machine, just a little skittish. But to be fair, if it is harmed by the X-ray machine, it's not like it's gonna be instantaneous. I would be careful with that. Don't just put your animal through a strange machine. You don't know what's gonna happen in there. At the very least, they might be traumatized. So the dog seems to be okay. And based on the fact that it's a Chihuahua Dachshund mix is almost certainly adorable, although it looks like a frozen turkey in that photo we gave you. But anyway, be careful with your animal when you're flying, people.
Let's just say it's a county regional airport, okay? They don't exactly know how to do things correct in the regional airports, you know? They're more of a stopover flight. Not a lot of direct flights in and out of Dane County. So, you know, I love that. I feel like, do you like think of the dog's face when it was pushed in the backpack? Like, that's not how you do it. No.
I'm not liking where this is going.
Yeah.
People are speculating in the chat about what superpowers the dog now has. I like this as an origin story. Anyway, that's dog news for now. We want to close with, I'm not gonna say what animal this is yet. I will just tell you, don't put up any graphic yet. This is an animal that caused a big power outage in a city in South Florida. This is such a Florida story. I give you iguana news. An iguana apparently caused a large-scale outage at the 6th Avenue substation. Regrettably, in this case, by the way, I don't believe that's the actual iguana. I think that's just the stock footage of iguana. But apparently the iguana went up under the transformer, blew it, and the iguana was fried. So this is the one animal that didn't survive its presence in the news. But iguanas are like, they're just, you find them randomly in this part of the world. Make your machines like walled off. Like there are other animals that can wander around. Also, there's terrible inclement weather. Like it shouldn't be possible for an iguana to just move on to a thing and cause not only the outage, which is inconvenient, but the loss of its own life. You got to be more careful about that. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to Fox News just blaming climate change and like the lack of of our generators to sustain climate chaos on iguanas, being like, no, see, in Texas, it wasn't that we have like a massive monopoly on power. It's the iguanas.
And the reason power outages are happening around the country, I guess we sort of remember that it appears to be an anti-LGBTQ activist, but let's forget about that. Let's focus now on just the iguana.
No, I was gonna say this is an interesting week for power outages. Like that, exactly. Was that iguana like? Is that the person who runs Libs of TikTok?
I don't know. I've never seen this person. It could be an iguana. Anyway, that is unfortunately all the time we have for animal news and for our show, Francesca. It's a rare treat to have you on Fran Favorite Fridays. Thank you for giving us your time.
Thank you, John. Thanks, everybody. Everyone, check out the Bitchuation Room podcast, please.
Thank you. Francesca, I will see you very soon, actually, because you're gonna be on the main show with me. So go take a nap and I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Everyone out there, thank you for watching today. Thank you for watching throughout the week. Much appreciated. We've got obviously a lot coming up in the run up to the holidays. So we will see you soon in that respect. But Indisputable is up next. I believe Sharon Reed is gonna be taking over. So go show Indisputable some love. And for now, stay safe out there, stay sane out there, and I'll see you soon.